What's up, horror fans? I'm wearing the wrong mask for the video I'm talking about from the Hills Maniacs, and today I'm going to be talking about inconsistencies in Friday the 13th, Part 2. So I wanted to do this video, and if you watched Halloween last year, I did an inconsistencies video, or leading up to Halloween, on Friday the 13th, and things that don't make sense, and I've done some other inconsistencies videos, so go check those out if you haven't already. And I do this not as a way to kind of like bash on the movie or anybody involved. This is just for fun. I'm not hating on the movie. I'm not, trying to make fun of it in any way. So don't like get mad if I'm saying something wrong towards the movie, because I have nothing against the movie or the people involved with this movie. It is just for fun. So if you haven't checked out other inconsistencies, basically how it works is I rewatched Friday the 13th Part 2, and I wrote down some things that are either plot holes, things that like happened but were never followed up on, or just random things like in the background, or something that's mentioned that's never followed up with. Not all of them are plot holes, because some of them are like equipment malfunctions or things like that, for other movies at least. But for this one, there are mostly, I guess you could call them plot holes for this one. So anyways, the first thing I want to talk about is, and it's never really specified, I don't think, in any of the Friday the 13th movies, where Camp Crystal Lake actually is. Because we see in this movie that Jason, who's apparently still alive, which doesn't make any sense, because he drowned as a kid, so how can he be alive here unless he didn't drown as a kid, which that could be a whole nother video. If you guys want to see that, let me know. But Jason, who's now alive and the killer, is tracking down Alice, the survivor from the first one, to get revenge on him for her killing his mother and decapitating her on the beach, I guess you will, of Crystal Lake. And so I guess the question is, where does Alice live, and where is Camp Crystal Lake? How far away is it? How did Jason get to Alice's house? How did he learn her address and know where she lived? And I guess to add in another part, when he goes to her house, she opens the fridge, and Mrs. Voorhees' head is actually in her fridge. So how did Jason get the head in the fridge without Alice noticing this giant dude walking through her house? Also, during that scene, there's a part where her phone rings, and it's actually her parents. So then she hangs up, and then it rings again, and there's nobody on the line. And I guess the question is, did Jason call her? Because we never really find out how that happened. And to follow up with that, if Jason did call her, how did he get her phone number? And what phone was he using? So I don't know if they just wanted to make it seem more scary and just went with it, or what, but it begs a lot of questions, like how could Jason have done that? Why is he toying with Alice if that was him that called, when he was clearly already in the house and could have just came in and killed her at any point. Later on, there's a scene in the movie where Sergeant Tierney, who's the main cop from the first one and this one, he's running through the woods, and he stumbles upon a cabin. I guess it was like a flashback thing or something. And he basically stumbled into Jason, and I guess the question was, what brought him to the woods in the first place? Because he was under the impression that Jason Voorhees was dead. So what brought him to this place to find this cabin in the woods? The next point I wanted to bring up was a character named Terry goes and decides to take a walk through the woods in the middle of the night, because that's smart, especially in a horror movie, especially at a place like Camp Crystal Lake where things have been happening. And I guess the question was, who's just like in the middle of the night, just like, you know what, I think I want to go for a walk through the woods of all places. Apparently Terry does. And she probably does it a lot because she seemed to be in her element doing it, and it's what leads to her death. Later on, we see another guy get kind of strung up in like a trap and gets hung upside down. He gets hung upside down by this rope, and I guess the question is, why is the rope there? Did Jason put it there? Did somebody else put it there to try to trap like a bear or something? They never really followed up with that. I would assume Jason put it there because he seemed to know where it was. But again, why is Jason setting up all these elaborate traps when he could clearly just come in and kill everybody all at once if he wanted to? But if it was Jason, why did he put it there? How long ago was it put there? How did he get it up in the tree? I don't know if he climbs trees or not. There's another scene in the movie where this guy Mark, who's in a wheelchair, stayed back at the camp while a lot of the other people went to the bar, or I guess, and he's killed with a machete to the face from behind, I think, is what it was supposed to be like. But the angle that it goes into his head, because he like, it shows the back of his head, but then when the machete goes in, it looks like it comes at him from the front. So I don't know if he was supposed to be killed from the front or the back, and if he was supposed to be killed from the front, how didn't he see Jason coming? Because I'm pretty sure you would see this tall dude swinging at you with a machete. And if he was killed by the back, or from the back, the angle doesn't match up, so they clearly, killed him from the front. And then he rolls down the steps backwards, so I would assume that would mean that he was hit, because the force of getting hit with the machete in the face is what knocks him back down the steps in the wheelchair. So I would assume he's supposed to be hit from the front, and in that case, how didn't he see Jason? Because again, if I see a machete-wielding maniac about to swing at me, I know he's in a wheelchair, but still, scream or something, but he literally just machete to the face. The next question I want to bring up is, because, I mentioned earlier, Mrs. Voorhees, who dies in the first one, and her whole purpose of killing everybody at Camp Crystal Lake was the revenge for Jason's drowning as a kid. But if Jason's a grown adult in this one, obviously he didn't drown before the events of the first movie. So, did she know that Jason was still alive? And if so, then why was she killing people to begin with? Because he didn't die. And I guess she's just psycho. But still, like, did she know that Jason was still alive? Was he hiding even from her? Was she still under the impression that he was dead? I'm pretty sure she knew. I would, like, just the way I think she would figure it out, and just go insane. But, they never really follow up on whether or not she knew he was alive, and they never really bring up the fact that he's still a grown adult, even though he should, technically, if he was a zombie, would come back as a kid, because you're not going to grow if you're dead. The last point I want to bring up is, Jason ends up with a machete in the shoulder, and is basically unaffected, and at this point, he's still technically human, because he hasn't been killed yet, and I think it's part 6, Jason Lives, where he comes back as a zombie, because he dies in part 4, the final chapter, I believe, and so I guess my question is, if he's still technically human, how didn't he die here? But I guess it's the same question you could ask, like Michael Myers, who's technically just a human in a mask. How doesn't he die from anything? And I guess, I don't know if it's adrenaline or just what, just some mystical power that allows them to survive, but something kept Jason alive, and it manages to last 2 more movies before he gets killed, and then comes back in part 6, and is there from the rest of it, and even goes to Mars at one point. But anyways, guys, there you go. That was my inconsistencies that I found in Friday the 13th Part 2. Stay tuned for what else we got going on this week. We will be uploading every single day for Halloween, and check out yesterday's video where Steven and I did a Hocus Pocus review. And stay tuned for what else we got going on, and happy Halloween, everybody.